16 years old. So I mean, even though I got saved at 9, but I would say like 16 was like the number of the age where I really like developed a relationship, but it's also the age that I started to really kind of see a lot of things. And I remember a lot of things I used to see. I remember here in my city, almost every pastor I knew was a Mason of some sort, which led me down the rabbit hole, not becoming one. I never had the interest of becoming one, but I studied. I went to the flea market and bought a book. They had a Mason's book, and I bought that book and read it. I started studying Scientology. I started studying a lot of different theologies that didn't necessarily align with my faith, but I wanted to read and be educated on these things. I remember being in Bible college. There was a class we took called World Religions. I remember reading a lot of things in that particular class. That was another class that even talked about some of the faith healers, the way some of those people died, and some of those people died with some of the very sicknesses and some of the very healings that they used to pray for in these tent cathedrals and revivals back then. Some of those people died with those very sicknesses on them. Some of these people died depressed. Some of these people died broke. Some of these people died broken. I mean, that was a great minister. I don't even want to name drop, but he was very popular. He passed away and he died he was very sick at the end of his life. And I've seen a lot of guys. I mean, when you're in this as long as I've been, you see a lot of people drop off. You see a lot of people come and they're on fire for a minute. I mean, you know what? Let me big up one person though. There was a lot of female preachers that got big over the years. You had Cheryl Brady, Juanita Bonham, Paula White. You had a lot of these names that came and drew big crowds. You can put Joyce Meyer in there as well. Big name preachers and stuff like that. But there was one lady. She used to come on the station I worked at. Her name was Marilyn Hickey. She just died this year. But I think Marilyn was like 90 something when she died. But some of these other people, they may have kind of gone up and down over the years, whether good, bad, or whatever. But Marilyn, she was one of those people that no matter how things were for her and some other people came in, her ministry just kind of stayed level the whole time, and I wouldn't necessarily say I had no issues with Marilyn. I mean, I didn't necessarily hear her say a lot of crazy stuff compared to some of the other pastors that came on the station or whatever, but I want to big her up. She kind of stayed level and stayed grounded over the years, despite some of the other people who kind of came in with this big flame, but fizzled out over the years. So yeah, as much bad as I could speak of, there are a few people who kind of stood the test of time, and a few people whose ministries I thought made a difference, and a few people who I think over the years have tried to do good. Even though that's far in between, it's a lot who don't have those, who didn't have those intentions. But not everyone is bad. There were a couple ministries that I did respect over the years. Maybe one day we'll name drop a few of those people. But I just want to ask you guys: have you seen that? Have you seen any business marriages? Have you seen any business marriages within your ministry or ministries that you're connected to over the years? I have definitely seen it firsthand. I went to Bible college with people from all over the world, and oh my goodness, man, I've seen a lot of stuff over the years. I mean, a lot of personalities, a lot of brokenness, a lot of I remember, we used to have chapels. And okay, let me give you one more example before we wrap this up. There's a lady, I don't know if I should even say her name or not. There's a lady, her ministry is in Ohio, put it that way. And She used to come and preach at the chapel services that we had at, when I was going to Bible college. And sometimes, see, the way they used to do it when I was going to Bible college, they would have Sunday service. You have two services. You have the 10 o'clock service and then the night service. And a lot of times, whoever preached that night, if it was a guest speaker, they would stick around until Monday when we had chapel at the Bible college. And sometimes the guest preachers from the Sunday night service would come and do the chapel on Monday. I remember this woman vividly. She used to, one of the things she was preaching one night was about R-rated movies. And she was like, how could you be a Christian and go to an R-rated movie? How could you take the Holy Spirit into that movie theater with you and all this cussing and GD this and BI this and sit through murder and sit through violence and sit through blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going in, I'm not taking, I'm holy and be ye separate and come out from the world and blah, 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 right? This lady was married to a man who was a sex abuser. And she was complicit. She was negligent. She didn't say anything. And where's the Holy Spirit there? Like, okay, so you have a problem with a 2-hour movie, but you would sit there and be married to a man who was doing some of these nasty things that he was doing, and you didn't say nothing. And then when that husband died, she remarried another husband who went to prison for doing things that he shouldn't have did. And he was another guy, came to the place as well and said some similar things about music because he was a saxophone player. So you can kind of connect who I'm talking about without me saying it. But these are the people that used to come and talk to us as 18-year-olds and really try to influence us. And we come to find out these people didn't live anything that they preached about. They were nothing like they talked about. I remember they used to get on to us about secular music and secular music is wrong and blah, blah, blah. And they went to a Rascal Flatts concert, so these people would say one thing and do another. And then when they got pressed on it, well, we went because the Bible says in Joshua 3, I give you land and buildings that you didn't build or whatever. I just went to see my new church. And, he never got that building, by the way, where the Ohio, what's the hockey team? They never got that building. They're still worshiping in the same building that they've always worshiped in, and they barely have 200 or 300 members now. So the church never grew. The church dwindled in numbers. I'm referring to World Harvest Church. They dwindled in numbers over the years, and we'll do some separate videos about them. But yeah, these are the things that we went through as Bible college students. And I could go on and on of some of the couples that I've met over the years. And a lot of these people fall under this category of business marriages. Some of these people talk to you about celibacy and they're out whoring and tricking around and sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry you can name. Some of these people who preached about homosexuality are gay. Some of these people who preach about abortion have had multiple abortions. Should we go on with from Ted Haggard to whoever else you want to name? I mean, these people have professed one thing and come to find out they have not lived up to anything that they preached or talked about. From being a evangelical Christian conservative, and these people have not been living up to anything that they talked about. They used to get on to some of the girls about their dresses. Their dresses need to go below their knees or whatever. Like, just because it's below their knees, that dress can go up like the short dress can go up. So, I mean, this is the stuff that we have seen over the years. They've talked to you about. I remember some people I know grew up in the Holiness Church, and they got on to those girls about makeup and makeup is wrong and you can't do this. And these people were living a joke. The very people that the guy who was pastoring this Holiness Church, he's deceased now, but he had an extramarital affair on his wife, and so much so he wasn't even hiding it. I remember we went to a trip and he brought his mistress on the trip with his wife. I mean, this is the stuff that I have seen over the years. I can go on and on, but business marriages, man. Oh my goodness. These people are absolute joke. All right. Those of you who are watching, you will connect with me on other social media sites. You can go to Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, X, formerly known as Twitter, and TikTok, all at I'm in the Hills. INTHAHILLZ. If you're watching on YouTube, you want to support the show, you can send a super chat. You can also donate via Cash App or Venmo at I'm in the Hills. INTHAHILLZ. You can also donate via PayPal at DoubleETV101. Please check out my two websites. My production company is www.doubletv.com. That's with two E's. That stands for Epic Elevate the Vision. And my music website, www.inthehills.net with a Z. But yeah, business marriages. I kind of made this little image before I came out here of it's just a little AI generated thing, but a couple can look like this. You know, look at her arm. Look how she's grabbing his arm, and he's looking at her and smiling. And the whole time he could be gay, and she could be out here sleeping around with 5 or 6 dudes. I mean, that is what I've seen firsthand in ministry over the years. Oh my God. I really appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Please check out some other videos that I put out. I put out a couple videos about Joni Lamb's death and her passing away and the whole Daystar stuff. So please check those videos out. They're doing quite a few numbers. Got someone frowned at 93. What's going on, man? Appreciate you for tapping in. Any good video, any good songs, any trending news, let me know. But I definitely wanted to tackle this topic. This is definitely something that I have seen over the years. I know a guy he just left his other wife for the new wife he has. I mean, man, it's a mess. I would encourage people as well. I've been divorced for over 2 years now, but I have been in counseling for 18 months. 18 months. So it's definitely something that I would encourage people to do who have gone through some type of divorce or have gone through something in your life. It's okay to go talk to someone. Yes, God is our aid and God is our helper, and God has blessed certain people who are gifted, who counsel and who are therapists. It's good to sit down and talk with those people and process through some of your problems and try to work on yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. So I would encourage anyone who has the means to do so. Counseling is helpful. It's very helpful to sit down and talk to someone. It doesn't make you weak. As a matter of fact, it's a strength. It makes you strong. And I think a lot of people should be doing that before they just hop to a new marriage. And some of these people think because they sing, because they're gifted, because they've been in the church so long. But some of these people really need to sit down and work on themselves and get right, because it doesn't matter. This new wife, that stuff will wear off eventually, and the real person in both of you is going to hit the surface, and you got to have that in you to try to be better. I'll tell you this. I'll say this right quick before I go. This is something that I thought about, because when I first went through it, for me, I married and divorced the same person twice, and it's very difficult. It's very tough. You sometimes, you kind of feel this like a failure. You feel this embarrassment. You may feel quite a few emotions, right? But I know people who have been married for over 12, 13 years, and some of these people, they're not happy. I know couples that don't even sleep in the same bed. They don't sleep in the same room. Some people I know, they're just together for the kids. Some people I know, I mean, it's all over the place. So I just want to encourage people who may have gone through a divorce, don't beat yourself up, because not everyone who appears to be everything that may appear a certain way on social media may not necessarily be the truth of the matter. I know people who've people living in domestic violence situations, people who know that the husbands are cheating on them. Stuff is kind of all over the place. Stephanie, what's going on, cuz? Oh wow, my cousin. Yeah, counseling is very helpful. It's something that totally can just help you, and it's very, very beneficial to me. I can, this is what, the month of May. I plan on continuing counseling throughout the rest of this year. So I don't see me stopping that anytime soon. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, business, marriages, and ministry. It's a shame, man, but that is the world that we live in. All right, we're going to wrap up and get out of here. If you're watching and you want to check out some other content that we do have a community section where you guys can vote on little friendly debates and polls that we put up. So please check out the community section. We have a link pinned to our merch. You can order some merch. There's 4 brands in that store. So order something today. We would definitely appreciate it. If you're watching, you want to support the show, you can send a super chat. You can also donate via Cash App or Venmo at I'm in the Hills, or PayPal WETV101. If you're a Prince fan, go to Facebook, type in Purple Nation, join 27,000 people where we celebrate the life and legacy of Prince. All right, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We would love to have you be a part of this community here at Terrance Hill TV. We definitely appreciate it. And hey, I want to shout out that Purple Nation page. We were at 26,000 for a minute, and then we just jumped up to 27. So my goal is to get to 30 by the end of the summer. That was a page that my father started. And when my dad passed away in 2020, I think the page may only had like 2,000 or 3,000 people on it. And since I took over it, we're at 27,000 now. So it's very near and dear to my heart to post that content. And Prince is my favorite artist. When I was born, he came to Montgomery, Alabama, and performed the very day I was born at Garrett Coliseum. So it was kind of something in the air that night happened. That's why I love Prince so much. I got another person tapping in. Mia, what's going on? Thank you so much for tapping in. But yeah, let me know in the comment section if you've gone through divorce or if you've seen crazy marriages, especially within the ministry. Drop a comment. Let me know about it. I would love to hear your input and feedback on this topic. All right, really appreciate you guys for rocking with us. And hey, that's that.
And why mess up a good thing? And that's that.
I'm so high with no edibles. You ask how does it feel? It's incredible. And now I'm standing on my pedestal. Y'all got no morals, y'all unethical. I'm so high with no edibles. You ask how does it feel? It's incredible. And now I'm standing on my pedestal. Y'all got no morals, y'all unethical. I got a baby face, call it